The owner asked for the long hair shampoo package. Failed to mention how she's badly matted, right? Mm. So, and pelted in some areas. Hence why, if you're going to keep your cat in full coat, you probably want to put him on a regular maintenance schedule, right? To prevent this from happening in the first place. You know, I did years of these kind of grooms where the owners just picked whatever schedule they wanted, bring their cats in fully matted, fully pelted. It was a full coat restoration every single time. And what happens is it teaches and trains the cat to hate the grooming process because they have to go through all of this demating process, right? Which they usually don't like and they don't care for, right? And they slowly learn to hate the process. Is the main problem, right? Okay, let's work on saving her mane using a little bit of that secret sauce. Ugh. Lay Pooch detangling spray. The pre-bath spray. You're so cute. That's not even a mat. That's actually a pelt. Yeah, so you can't even fix that. Right? A pelt, there's only one way to fix a pelt. You gotta shave it out. There. Hold on. Oh my God. It's a full coat. Full coat restoration and demating. Alright, so if she was brought to any other grooming salon, they would have just shaved her and put her in a line cut, right? She wouldn't have had any other options because most groomers are not trained. Hey JJ. How you doing, JJ? How you doing? This is a little mat breaker that you can get from Chewy's. It's made by Little Pals, right? That's the most natural way to fix the matting because you're not going to notice. You will notice a shave, you will notice a scissor mark, but when you use a mat breaker, see, you can't tell. I don't know if you can see that, but you can't tell that a mat breaker was used to correct your coat. Good girl. Good girl. Wow. Waka waka. As opposed to what? You mean like I'm just grabbing some kind of stuffed animal? As I go live? Thinking you guys are not going to notice? Can we make it make sense there? Amit Cam. Can we make it make sense? Or you think I'm just going to go live and start grabbing a stuffed animal and hope you don't notice? Yeah, okay. Alright. Sorry for anyone watching this video. They're asking whether the cat is real. Yeah. Welcome to my comment section. My feral community. They're wild at heart. Waka waka. Waka waka. She's a Gaba baby. You know what that means? Anybody here want to guess what a Gaba baby means? She's also a Gaba baby. Do you know what that means? Jelly bean. Waka waka. It means she was pre-treated by her owner with GABA so that she could be groomed at low stress levels. Yeah. She is. Is she? All right. Now, can we save this count? Yeah, sort of. We'll figure it out. Sarah. There. Where's your tail? All the fluff is missing from her tail. All of her poof is gone. Was that super necessary? Super necessary? Was it? Just wondering. Is that what you ask any dog who goes into a dog grooming salon? Is it okay? Is it alright? No, it's a dog going in for a grooming. Right? You all been trained to think that the only way a cat would be groomed professionally is if there was something wrong with it. No, there's actually something wrong with that mentality is what's wrong. Right? You don't ask a dog owner, is your dog okay? Why are you getting it groomed? Is it okay? Does that make any sense? No. No, not really. Not really. But then again, there's a lot of stuff in this planet that doesn't make any sense, right? Can we start with YouTube not having a translator button? How does that make any sense? Wow. You would think a worldwide platform, right? A worldwide platform, and yet there's no translator button. How does that make any sense? Anybody? Waka waka. There's probably more there. Yep. Alright, so the biggest, whitest is a power tool. Those teeth are about 2 inches long each. We're going to start to break down that coat. Worst case scenario, I'm going to use that to help get through any of that matting. But we are using that secret sauce, that Lay Pooch detangling spray. And it's pretty magical when it comes to... We need more juice, Captain. We need more juice. We need more juice, Captain. Here, I'll show you what I do. I buy it by the gallon. That's the lay pooch. Let's fill that back up again. I did put it in one of these continuous sprays, but it's not working. Okay, here we go. There. All right, now let's start to break that up. It's a very oily based product, that lay pooch, right? The owner, if you look at the title of this video, right, it's going to tell you what the service request is. It's also going to tell you whether the cat was given a pre-treatment by their owner or not, right? So if you look at the title, it says PTG. That means the owner gave it a pre-treatment of GABA at 100, right? Yeah, so you need to be more situationally aware when you're watching these cat grooming videos, because all of the answers are right in front of you, right? It's going to say on the title of the video, or you're going to find more of the answers to any of your questions in the link attached to the page, themainlion.live, right? All of those answers to all of those questions are right in front of you, right at your fingertips, right? Yeah, just saying. Just saying. Hi, hi. Yeah, I can assure you the cat is breathing. Welcome to my comment section, people. Like a feral community, right? Wow, wow, wow. It's coming out. Loosening it up. Good buddy. Good buddy. Oh no, not according to the piranhas who swim in on Yubi-Tubi. Nope, 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 nope. It's destroying their narrative. The calmer a cat is being groomed live, the more it's going to trigger people. In case you didn't know that. Thanks, Monica. Red Velvet, in case you didn't know, the calmer the cat is, the better the cat is for the live, the more it will trigger the people watching, right? No, I don't do the no, a pre-treatment means it's done before. It takes 2 hours to work, people, so let's do the math. If the appointment is only 90 minutes, but it takes 2 hours for the pre-treatment to work, then the math is not mathing, right? See how that works, people? So a pre-treatment means it's something the owner does ahead of time before the appointment. They're going to do it 2 hours before the grooming appointment, because it takes 2 hours to work, right? So the math ain't mathin', right? FYI. I thought this was not a channel made for kids, but I guess that doesn't stop kids from being able to watch it. That's the main issue. See, on another app, you could just push a toggle, and it assures you that the only people watching are 18 years or older, so it guarantees that there's actually no children, right? But I guess on YouTube, it's not that way, which would explain a lot regarding the comments. Yeah. Yeah, a groomer is going to say no to sedatives, which is different from gabapentin. You need to be the one to educate your groomer, because your groomer may not have been educated to know the difference between what a sedative is and what gabapentin is. Gabapentin's been around for 20 years. It's not a sedative class medication, right? And it's designed to block the fight or flight signal. You know, the thing that causes a cat to be a cat, right? So it's up to you to educate your groomer and let your groomer know that gabapentin is not a sedative and it's not going to impair them cognitively, right? And I can assure you there's plenty of other fish in the sea, right? There's nothing forcing you from going to a groomer who refuses to allow you to help your cat with their stress levels, right? Can you even break down how that would make sense? Well, back in the day it made sense. I can break this down for you. Back in the day, you know, while the veterinarian industry was gatekeeping gabapentin and not letting anyone know about it, because nobody knew about it, what they were prescribing were sedatives. And a sedative will actually make it worse for the cat. It doesn't really help. It actually makes it worse a lot of times, right? So a lot of trained cat groomers were told to refuse service if the cat was sedated, right? Which is different from gabapentin, which is not a sedative, right? So you need to teach your groomer the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So gabapentin is used for a lot of things in the veterinarian industry, but one of them is to block the fight or flight signal. It kind of just temporarily turns your cat into a dog. Now, this is a silver Persian. I don't know if you know anything about silver, the color silver in the coat of, you know, cats, but it's an underlying streak that was bred into them where they have some anger issues, right? Just about every silver Persian that comes here for grooming is on gabapentin for a reason. Have you ever heard that saying, the red-headed Irish? Yeah, it's kind of like that. When you see silver in their coat, there's a really high chance that they're going to be a little volatile when it comes to certain things, right? It's just part of their breeding, right? So I would say it's a fault in their design, right? Because, you know, after all, they were designed. No, it's actually a pre-treatment. We already went through that. A pre-treatment is when the owner pre-treats the cat 2 hours ahead of time. If the appointment is 90 minutes, but it takes 2 hours for the pre-treatment to work, then the math isn't mathing. And your narrative sucks. Is disproven, right? Your narrative sucks, right? Because you want it to be about something negative. You want it to be bad, right? But see, you can't fit a square into a round hole and make it work. 2 hours for a pre-treatment to work. The appointment is 90 minutes. Therefore, one, the math's not mathing. Two, you want to make sure you pre-treat at home by the owner so that they understand how to do it correctly. It is not something that any groomer would do. The only way you're going to have a cat being medicated is if you bring your cat to a veterinarian facility, right? Do you understand how that works? Yeah. So we're not going to use this as a platform for misinformation, right? No, we're not going to use it as a format for misinformation. It is not a sedative class medication, right? You may want it to be, but it's not. Trying to get things to fit your narrative, right? For what reason? To prove yourself right when in fact you're wrong. Do you know that 90% of anything that comes out of your mouth is incorrect? In general, the public in general, 90% of what you say is wrong. That is your batting average. Next. Yeah, so if you don't know anything about happy hoodies, they are essential when it comes to helping to keep a cat calm for any part of the grooming, because it's a cat. You probably wouldn't have that same effect if you put a happy hoodie on a dog, right? But because it's a cat, you put a happy hoodie on a cat, it has a compression to it, it has a bunch of things that are happening that is beneficial to help keep a cat calm, right? And yes, any cat groomer would understand that, right? And that was discovered many, many years ago, right? Happy hoodies are used in the pet industry to help with drying, right? That's just a superficial glaze over of its initial intended use, right? But for cat groomers, it's used for so much more, right? So if you have a cat who's uncomfortable for any part of their grooming, even if it's just to cut their nails, try putting a happy hoodie on their head and see what happens. It's magic, right? It's about 80%, it's going to be effective for 80% of cats. Not every cat, but 80% effective is really high for anything. This cat's going to get a full belly shave because she's a hot mess. Hot, hot, hot. It's going to help. It's going to help to maintain her coat as well. Owner obviously is having a hard time keeping up with it. Owner seems to think that the only problem this cat had was some mats in its mane. There was so much more happening than the mats in the mane, right? So I think the next time I go live, I'm going to be looking for the toggle or the settings to assure me that there are no children coming onto this live anymore. I thought by saying that it's not made for children, that it would keep the children off. But apparently that's not what's going on. And that would explain the problem with these lives on this particular app, right? Yeah, a bunch of junior piranhas, right? Yeah. All you have to do, Devo Smatty, all you have to do is, you know what, I would take it one step further. I would call the vet and I would say, you flag my cat, right? You flag my cat. She's been flagged. Well, how is she doing now with her pre-treatment? You want to hear what the formula is? You want to hear what the formula is for working with GABA? Let's talk to Devo. Let's start with, how much does your cat weigh? Start with that. She still goes insane because you're not using the pre-treatment correctly. If you were using the pre-treatment correctly, that would not be happening. Okay, see where it says 17 pounds? All right, so you add a 0 after her weight, and what does that get you? 170, right? 170. Her therapeutic dose should be 170 milligrams, right? How much are you giving her? Right? How much are you giving her? Let me guess, 50. Or maybe just up to 100, right? That's why it's not working, Devo. When you work with GABA and you do the pre-treatment correctly, you will get the full results of it, right? It will start to work. If you don't use the pre-treatment correctly, it's not going to work. It's really that simple. The fact that you can say that your cat goes insane after you've used GABA means that you're not doing it right. Oh, well, I listened to my vet. No, vets do not have enough access to studies to understand exactly how GABA works. Hence why every one of our clients taught their vets how it worked. Our vets, the vets in this area, they didn't know how it worked. They knew it worked, they just didn't know anything about the right pre-treatment. Back in 2017, every vet, you know, once their gatekeeping was exposed and it was brought to the surface, and people started asking for it, every vet was telling every cat owner, no matter how big or small they were, or how volatile they were, or how bad they were with their stress levels, every cat across the board just got 50. Yeah, that was a fail pretty much every time, right? Why? Because the vets were instructing their clients wrong, right? Back in 2017, every vet in this area was telling cat owners to just give 50. Just not even close, right? And then vets started looking into it a little closer, started doing their own research, and discovered pretty much that unless you just get to 100, it's not even going to work, right? In most cases, with most cats, right? So it's starting to evolve, it's starting to change, right? A 17-pound cat means you should be giving your cat 170 milligrams, right? The second thing, we're still talking to Devo. The second thing you need to learn is, are you trying to treat for panic or aggression, right? Are you treating for panic, irritability, or are you treating for aggression? Because there's two different pre-treatments, one, you know, depending on which one you're trying to treat, right? So let's go one step further. Devo, are you still here? Yeah, we only have an 8-year case study of it with 500 cat clients and 40 vets. No, it's not. For a 17-pound cat, no, it's not. There's vets who'll go up to 200, 300. Yeah, right? Very common for a vet to go up to 200, sometimes even 300. I know a vet down the street who has to give a 7-pound cat 300 just to cut its nails, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's not about the size of the cat, but the fight of the cat, right? The fight that's in them. She was an anomaly though, right? That's not the norm. She was definitely outside of the norm. All right, is Devo still here? Devo, for aggression. Ah, okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut out the night before, right? You're going to cut out the night before. You're only going to give the GABA once at the therapeutic dose, 2 hours before, right? Why? Because with irritability and aggression, you need the initial impact to benefit that visit. For aggressive cats, you need the initial impact of GABA, which gets wasted if you give it the night before, right? So you cut out the night before. If you were treating for panic, you would give the night before, because you need it in the cat system for a good 24 hours to help with panic, right? Just giving GABA once 2 hours ahead is not going to help most. It might help some cats, but it's not going to help most cats who suffer from high panic. They need it in their system for about 24 hours in order for it to work correctly. Okay? So the formula to pre-treat your cat so that, and we're talking to Devo, so that she has a relatively okay visit at the vet's, is to give it once, 2 hours ahead, at the therapeutic dose, right? And you do not let your cat eat any food that's going to fill up their stomach, right? You do not let your cat eat. So if your cat has a morning appointment with a vet, you skip their breakfast, right? Oh, well, we have an 8-year case study with 500 cat clients and 40 veterinarians, so I don't see how or why that would be scary. The only thing scary is the fact that I am now teaching people how the gabapentin actually really works, because you guys gatekept it, didn't you? You've known all along. You've known for 20 years about that product. Not once did you ever talk about it or share it with any of your clients. To me, that's scary, right? Why were you doing that? You want to give us an answer as to why you were doing that? Why were you gatekeeping gabapentin? Just asking for a friend. That should scare people. Not me trying to help you all understand how the gabapentin works. By design, when it first surfaced in 2017, after a certain doctor